motion passes. Number 7, public hearing, 7A, as per public notification, public comment will be taken to consider improvements to the sanitary sewer infrastructure as described in the draft facility plan for the capital improvement project sanitary sewer for Trunk Highway 43 Mill Street. The area impacted by the facility plan includes the entire city of Rushford, specifically properties located on Trunk Highway 43 Mill Street from bridge to bridge. Representatives from Otomo Engineering will be present to discuss the draft facility plan and answer any questions from the council or the public in attendance. See attached draft facility plan upon receipt of any public comments. After further discussion, the council may find it appropriate to direct additional changes to the draft facility plan or may adopt the draft facility plan as presented. Alright, looks like we're not going to have any public comment. Does the council have any comments or questions for Josh?
You still need to open the public
Oh,
hearing.
fine. I apologize. You're right. I'll take a motion to open the public hearing.
I'm so moved to open the public hearing.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Dahl, second by Mr. Colbinson. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you. Come on up, Josh. Thanks.
So, last time I was here with you guys, we had talked about going through the PFA process, going through that. Our next step in that process is having a public hearing to approve the facility plan that we've put together with MSA and BDM. In short, what this plan is it's not so much of a plan as much as it is an engineering report. Kind of puts together how we came up with our design process, what calculations we used to come up with our methods for doing an open cut method, not using, directional boring or lining the sewer lines, but rather the reasons why we had to come up with doing an open cut method. Another part of it is for the design requirements, we had to use certain kind of our tributary populations and what areas are being drained into the facility, so into your sewer mains. The next part that was part of the plan was kind of our future, projecting out our design flows, and then just kind of our recommendations that we came up with and how it's going to be financed and funding options that we came up with to present to the PCA, and then from there they send this on to the PFA, who will ultimately decide whether or not Rushford is approved for a low interest loan. Other than that, it's not an incredibly in-depth plan that we had to put together. It was time consuming, but pretty much just kind of set up a project for what needed to be done, explaining how we're going to do it.
So on 43, from the school, everything flows north and then down to the lift station?
Correct. Yeah,
And
north
back.
of the school, north of Grove Street does, and then
And
from
back.
Grove Street.
On Maple.
Everything kind of goes down, actually, from the school down to Jesse Street, and then east, and then there's a line that runs from Harry Street, well, from May Street to Harry Street, then down east to the plant. So there's kind of 4 or 5 separate lines that have to be replaced in there.
So then, does North Street, the next street up, whatever that is, Grove? That's Grove.
Grove and then
North Street
and then went
drains
over.
which way?
Grove all goes to the north. Grove Street,
goes
then
north?
North Street, and then to.
Goes up to the highway and then down and back.
Yep.
So there's no connections? Or just a very few on Maple Street? Or are they all connected on Maple Street?
As far as like houses,
Yeah.
I think there's a few connections on Maple Street. Yeah.
That's part of this project?
No, not as part of this project. We wouldn't be doing
Right,
anything
right,
on
I
Maple
know.
Street.
Just asking for the flow of that.
What are those side laterals like? Do we know the condition of those?
On Maple Street?
Well, just on all of them. Harry Street? Cause you have line 2 and line 3, they flow down into Harry Street, and then I assume that gravity is down to the plant.
Correct.
Is that section along Harry Street, is that in good condition?
It should be, that was replaced in the nineties by, Davy or Yagi Engineering.
Okay.
So that line should,
Should,
the main should be good, I'm not
Should
sure
be.
if they did the services or not during that project.
but we haven't shot it, we haven't televised it.
No.
I don't think we did anything to the services.
I'm not looking for more work, but I'm certainly not wanting to come back to the council in a year's time and say, oh, by the way, you know, these other, it's part of our comprehensive planning process, is to get and televise these things, you know, every few years, 5 years or whatever, just to check the general condition and make sure that we're not.
So then from the
having
school
a problem.
in south, it all goes down to Harry Street?
No, well, from the school it goes to Jesse Street and then east. And then there's a line that runs from May Street, kind of by the co-op, and that goes south. And then from Pam's Corner, that runs north to Harry Street and then east.
Is that Jesse Street, that was done in '96, I think.
That actually does sound accurate. I believe Jesse Street's going east was done in '96. Yeah, I'm not sure if the services were done at that time either, but I know the main ones.
All these lines are going to have to be at 8 feet, or 8-inch sewer main, but, open, when they open up the trench and all that, they have to put down a base, and then they have to put the pipe, and they have to have some gravel and qualified fill to put over the pipes.
Yep.
They don't wanna have any dips or low spots.
Correct. And then after the 2007 flood, we had everything videotaped, you know, as far as the mains go, and along Highway 43, and now we just recently, as part of this project, had those re-televised, and we couldn't even televise them because they're in such bad condition.
You couldn't what?
Couldn't televise them again. They're just, camera was tipping over, and it's in bad shape.
But as many times as it flooded before that, you know, it's 65, it flooded 3 different times that year. And that was a big flood,
Mm-hmm.
just about as much water as we had.
Plus, there's a lot of tree roots that have grown into the lines now too, because it's all clay piping that's in there. So it's all undersized, and there's roots in there, and kind of
And
causing a lot of I&I problems right now.
It's all gonna be plastic.
Yep.
What's the life of that?
I think they're still kind of trying to determine that. I mean, plastic piping came out in the 70s, and so I mean, they kind of say it's somewhere between.
That's all gonna be 8-inch?
Yeah. Yep.
It's 6 now?
For the most of it, yeah, it's 6-inch.
Less than the plastic piping now is better than the plastic piping in the 70s.
Correct. Yeah, definitely.
What's it technically called? It's not plastic, it's,
PVC,
okay,
polyvinyl chloride
okay.
pipe.
On page 7, you have line 2, your design flow is 15 gallons a minute. Is that the current condition?
Page 7.
Yeah. It's under your future conditions. Down at the bottom there of the chart, so
Yeah.
line 2, 15 gallons per minute is your design flow. Is that what it is currently, or is that what you're building to? I know that's a short line there, but
Yeah.
it seems like 15 gallons a minute is not something that we would